Welcome back, students. Once again, we are doing and growing well and well. Now, I am pretty sure that you are very much happy, and your reaction says so that the earlier classes you have understood well. Today, I am going to tell you about a poem composed by no other than the great William Shakespeare, with whom our literature, the world literature, rests perhaps the best. In class 12, shall I compare thee to a summer's day prescribed for you? Today I am going to give you an analytical description about this poem. So before that, you need to know something about William Shakespeare, the great man of English literature, and he is one of the sons in the garden of literature. So William Shakespeare was born in 1564. I have written it in here, 1564, and he died in 1616. So after 400 years after his death, we are reading him. And why I am telling this particular thing, why I am 400 years after his death we are reading this poem, the poem will reveal itself to you, this theory. William Shakespeare, when he wrote this poem towards the last of the 16th century, and the poem was composed in 1609, William Shakespeare had become very much popular for steering the stage of London. The London theatres were steered by his marvelous dramas like Othello, Hamlet, King Lear, Macbeth, Midsummer Night's Dream, etc. You know all the students. But he became a sonneteer, and he wrote overall 154 sonnets. I have already told you he wrote 154 sonnets. Out of 154, 1 to 126, this 126 sonnets was written for a male friend. Critics say that he was the third Earl of Southampton, or there is a clue somewhere he wrote HW. So there is a historical evidence that Earl of Southampton, the third Earl of Southampton, with the name of Henry, had existed then. So I am to tell you that 1 to 126 was written for his male friend, remember, and 127 to 152 was written to his beloved. I don't know who the lady was, but there was a hint that it was a dark lady. It was mentioned in his writing, so we should not confuse anymore. And the last two, 153 and 154, was written to Cupid. You know, Cupid is a Greek god of love and sex. So 154 sonnets, I have already told you, overall he wrote 154 sonnets, 1 to 126 to his friend, 127 to 152 to a dark lady, and 153 one for a Greek sonnet actually. Now we will come back to this particular sonnet. Before going to the sonnet, you know, William Shakespeare actually created his own path by isolating himself from the classical sonnet or Italian sonnet that has the structure of octet and sestet, that means 8 and 6 lines. He wrote English sonnet by 4 lines into 3, that means 4 4 4, 3 quatrains. You know students, a stanza consisting of 4 lines is called a quatrain, and 3 quatrains, that equal to 12 12 12, 4 into 3 12, and there is a concluding couplet, that means obviously it was a rhyming couplet, that is called couplet. That means Shakespeare introduced to the world of literature a special kind of sonnet, this called Shakespearean sonnet after his name, and there are 3 quatrain and a concluding couplet. And Shakespeare actually had an inclination to write in iambic pentameter. The iambic pentameter and the rhyme scheme is AB. Students, you can easily see here day, temperate, May. So day and May rhyming, temperate and date rhyming. I will show you more when I will analyze all the poem, and after the description of all the events and episodes one after one. Just I have given you an example. A B A B, that means A B A B, C D C D, E F E F and G G. This is the rhyme pattern, and I will take a different class about what is iambic and what is pentameter. I will take a different class. Today I want to go back to the sonnet number 18. You know, this number may puzzle you, why the title has not been given, but it is written sonnet 18. You have already known to the facts that Shakespeare wrote 154 sonnets, and actually Shakespeare had not titled any sonnet, but he only gave the numbers. So it is the 18 number sonnet, and the first line, shall I compare thee to a summer's day, this first line has been taken as the title of this poem in the book of your syllabus. So students, shall I compare thee to a summer's day, this is, in this poem the poet will focus about his love, actually his love for his male friend, Earl of Southampton or Henry, whatever you say. His love was so deep, so passionate, that he compared in a pastoral way, where beauty of nature has been described in an unique way. At the same time, he has given us his passionate love for his beautiful friend, for his soulmate, his mate of his heart, the mate of his heart, Earl of Southampton. Right now, I will go for line by line analysis. So actually open your book and see the lines and follow me critically, clinically, so that you can complete the sonnet by one reading. And I think you will be immensely benefited by reading the sole sonnet of Shakespeare in your syllabus. You have the chance to go through Shakespeare by reading his dramas, the wonderful dramas, the scintillating dramas. Right now, I want to go back to the poem itself. Students, now go through the lines, the first 2 lines of the poem. I have actually readied a video for you, but the downloading is being failed. So I am going through audio. I am trying to reach to your soul through audios. First 2 lines. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? thou art more lovely and more temperate. The poet starts or begins the poem with a question. The question is, he asks himself if he should compare his friend to a day of summer. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? These questions can be answered in two ways. No, I shall not compare you to a summer's day. Or yes, I will compare you to a summer's day. But the poet gives us the answer in the second line. Thou art, thou means you, art means are, you are more lovely and more temperate. The poet tells that his friend is more lovely and more restrained and more moderate. So you can understand these two lines. Then I will go line number 3 and 4. Students, in spite of my best efforts to give you the video, I think all the efforts are being failed. Still, go through the third and fourth line. Rough winds do shake the darling birds of May. Rough winds do shake the darling birds of May. Again, think the poet has started comparing his friend to a day of summer. But we must remember the poet has an intention to compare. He wants to say his friend is more beautiful, more temperate than summer. So, the day of summer may be some drawbacks. The day of summer may have some drawbacks, some defects, but the poet's friend has not such thing. So rough winds, that means the foul winds or the stormy winds do shake the darling birds of May. In the month of May, beautiful birds, not the birds, beautiful birds bloom in England. They are the glory of nature. But these unique glories of nature are battered and tattered by the conspiracy of the storm. So, summer day has a drawback.
Now start.
Let us have the first quatrain. That means 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 lines. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling birds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. These are the glorious lines from the pen of Shakespeare. The poet first tells us, shall I compare thee? You need to know thee means you. Thee means you. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? The poet wants to tell the poet has given us a proposition that the poet wants to tell us if he compares his friend, that means this thee, it is about the Earl of Southampton, you know. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? The poet has taken a proposition whether he would compare his friend to a summer's day. Here, summer, you know, summer is actually a season. The season is beautiful season, and it is a symbolic season, beauty and youthhood. Summer has the symbolic meaning of beauty and youthhood. So the poet wants to tell that if he should compare his friend to a day of summer or to a perfect day of summer. This is the question. A poem beginning with a question, we call it rhetorical question. The poet introduces the poem with a rhetorical question, and then he tells, thou art, this two, thou means you, art means are. You are more lovely and more temperate. Students, keenly follow me. You are more lovely and more temperate. These two comparatives, more and more, lovely and temperate. Then the poet wants to introduce, the poet wants to compare his friend to a summer's day. He was in a confusion whether he should compare or he shouldn't compare. But in the second line he tells, you are more lovely and more temperate. So it is very clear that he shouldn't compare because his friend is more lovely and more temperate. This word, temperate, this word actually means mild. This word means moderate. This word means balanced, constant. So his friend, the friend of the beloved friend of the poet, is more lovely and more temperate. So he can't be compared with a summer day. Why? Right now the poet wants to tell us about the summer. The summer has its own beauty, but it has some drawbacks. It has something which you cannot glorify. Those unglorified things have been told by the poet right now. Rough winds do shake the darling birds of May. Rough winds, that means tempest, the wild winds. We call it storm. The stormy winds do shake the darling birds of May. May is the month. That means darling, loving, beautiful. The beautiful blossoms, the beautiful birds of the month of May are being shaken, are being spoiled by the rough winds. Rough winds blowing in the month of May. So, in the month of May, the beautiful things of nature are destroyed, are shattered, are demolished by the rough winds. So, summer has a drawback here. Summer has something not to be glorified here. And summer's lease, and summer's lease hath means has all too short a date. Here closely follow. And summer's lease, here the word lease. You often hear students the word lease, that I have taken the shop for 2 years lease. Lease means actually a business contract or a lawful contract. But if you give a second thought, the contract has been signed for a period of time, for a duration of time. So we can say the lease means duration. Again I repeat, here you can think lease means duration or period. And summer's duration has all too short a date. That means the duration of summer is very short. So this is the second drawback. First drawback, rough winds of summer is destructive in nature. And the summer itself, however beautiful, however youthful it is, however vigorous the summer is, but it is too short. It is very short. Before understanding, before realizing, before feeling the full warmth of summer, it goes out. This is. And so, you can easily understand, students, the poet from the third and fourth line focuses or shifts his focus on summer, especially the drawbacks of summer. Sometime too hot, the eye of heaven shines. This is the third lacuna. This is the third drawback of summer. Sometime too hot, the eye of heaven. This is the eye of heaven actually indicates the sun. Sometime too hot, the eye of heaven shines. Sometimes in summer, the sun goes very hot, unbearable. The scorching heat of the sun actually sends down some shiver on the earth, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. This is the fourth one. The first one, drawback, summer wind. Second, summer sleeze. Third, the heat of the sun. And the fourth, often his gold complexion is dimmed. This is gold complexion, the face of the sun. That means the golden hue, the golden color of sun is dimmed. Dimmed means diminished. Diminished means reduced. That means the clouds may cover the sun, and the glamour of the sun, the glorious golden color, the yellow beam of the sun are diminished and reduced. And every fair from fair sometime decline. This is another lacuna, another drawback. Every fair from fair. Here the use of two fair, one fair and two fair. This fair actually a fair thing, and this fair means beauty. Again, students, please listen to me. And every fair, that means a fair thing, that means a beautiful thing. From fair, that means fairness, beauty. Sometime decline, that means sometime fall. That means beautiful thing often fall. This is the actually rule of nature. You know, in the poem Mutability, the great poet P.B. Shelley says, the flower that smiles today, tomorrow dies. You know, this is the mutability. This is the rule of nature. And you have not read this poem, students, but you know that Andrew Marvell, in his famous poem, The To His Sky Mistress, says, and in my back I hear time's winged chariot hurrying near. That means time is a current, time is a force that goes on and doesn't look back. That means time takes everything and swallows everything, leaving behind all the beautiful, all the successful into a chamber of death and destruction. So, here in this poem, and every fair from fair sometimes decline, that means every beautiful thing in nature fall by chance. But how this beautiful thing are destroyed? By chance, accidentally, or nature's changing course untrimmed. This is the changing course. That means the course, the going, the movement of nature. The movement of nature is uncut. That means untrimmed. That means uncut. Trim, this word you know, trim means cut. Untrimmed. That means nature's course, nature's movement is always ongoing and going. So, nature doesn't pardon any moment, but it is happy to go on leaving behind every present into past. So, the students, here you can easily, in the second quatrain, the poet has further developed his idea that in summer, however fair and beautiful it is, but it has some drawbacks, and the changing course of nature, the mutability of nature, the destructive power of time has been included in this poem. To go into the third quatrain.
And now come to the fourth line. And summer's lease hath all too short a date. That means here also the poet has given us a drawback of summer. That means a fault of summer. And summer's lease, here lease means actually duration. That means the duration of summer is very short. Is so short that before enjoying heartily, the summer goes away. So, summer's lease means duration, but you know, lease is a commercial or lawful contract our business contract. So Samas lease hath, that means has, all too short a date. That means the duration of summer is very short, but the beauty of his friend is not at all short. It is timeless.